Hello. It's me. Your internet friend. Admittedly, it took me like 5 minutes to find a GIF to tweet along with the link. But how is everybody? How you guys doing? Min, hello. How's your wine? I want this. Jinx. Hello. Oh no. Josh. Thanks for the follow, Josh. I appreciate it. I hope you are well. I think this would probably be more like here. Turnip. Hello. It tastes like invisibility. Demand to stay away. Who said that? Whoever they are, they're rude. Maybe I want this a little bit bigger, actually. Shimmer, hello. Okay, so I think I want like a this move. And like that kind of thing. Actually, maybe I'll put this more like that. Does that even make sense? Yes, actually. I'm not gonna lie, that song kind of threw me off. I forgot entirely what I was trying to do. This I think needs work though. Probably like that there, like this here. This would be over here, so this would be like that. So this would be... We need this to be more like that, is I think what the problem is. I think if we do this, it'll read a little better. I don't really know. It should honestly probably be a little lower.
Bear he turned out to be.
Aramaeus.
He didn't even know how to act like
Hello, and thank you. And maybe eventually Josh. That would ideally be the case, but, you know. life and stuff. Stuff is what I wanted to say. We can probably put some bits up here. Something like that. And we'll do that there. You got a new plant named after him. Named Roz, or like his full name, or like his real name? I'm gonna turn that off for right now. His real name is Roz. It is not Roz, actually. That's just what everyone calls him. He's like that friend that you meet online that you really only know is their online name. Like, you know that they have a real actual name, but you only ever call them by their online name. His real name is Mulder. What if I just like really abstract this out in the background and just kind of do some big circle shapes and some big cloudy shapes. I don't like that. That's fine. Steven Latte. I guess you could say I like that joke a latte. Ha 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 ha. I'm hilarious, you guys. Boo. Boo. Get this man out of here. Gonna post the plant pic. Okay. I will look forward to I was gonna say like photosynthesis friend for the alliteration, but like that doesn't seem good. I feel like I could do better. After I just gave everybody that sick joke a second ago. Tank's gotta get refueled. It's true.
You're gonna make one swell bear.
Shadow. Thank you for the follow. This music feels very loud. I'm gonna turn it down. Slightly more. Okay. All right. Man, you ever see like super like not at all necessary stuff and you're just like, "Oh man, I should get that. I would use that." And then you're like, "No. No, I wouldn't." But then you still can't really stop thinking about it cuz you're like looking for ways to justify potentially buying it. I'm feeling that way about a thing. Cuz I was like, "Oh man, I should get like one of them Stream Deck things so I could have fancy buttons to do stuff with." But then I was like, I would never use this item. But then I was like, they make one that's like a pedal for your feet. And I was like, maybe I could use that. So I could like press buttons to do stuff while playing games or drawing and not have to move my hands. But then I was like, I just said I wouldn't ever use a Stream Deck in the first place. Roz is his nickname and his real name is too long. No. How do I want things that aren't hugs? I mean, you can want more than one thing. It's not an impossibility. This arm is like all over the place, by the way. Especially like here. Like what's even going on?
And you're gonna make one swell bear. You're gonna make one swell bear.
Two at the same time. Wow. Amaru and Waylon, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And I hope you're doing well. I guess you probably wouldn't really see that. Slightly limited in its use case for the price. Maybe. I mean, it's just 3 buttons essentially, but because it's also like the biggest like argument that I've seen for it has been that because it runs on the Stream Deck like software, you can change what it does depending on which programs you have opened and focused at the time or whatever. So like I could use it as a stream thingy, but when I'm not streaming, I could also use it for like push to talk while playing games. And that was the biggest like argument that I saw for it, was that. But then I was like, I don't ever talk to anyone anyways. Your boy is silent most of the time. Raz of Omicron Persei 8. Oh, hey, Waylon. I'm glad you could finally hang out and stuff. Thanks for, coming to chill. His head is too tall here. Actually, this whole thing is tall. Where's the... okay. I need this over... oops. This over here. Nope. Something like this, I think. Hmm. Something like that, I think. Okay, how do I want to render this is now the question. I've had a thing in mind from the beginning. So now the question is, how do I want this thing to look? I have a feeling that I know, but I'm not 100% sure. Can I speak Spanish? No. I cannot. Maybe someday. I mean, I guess. Never say never and all that. I feel like I'm being extra quiet because I'm struggling to not talk about Destiny. I feel like it's all I talk about on my streams. But stuff happened and I want to talk about the lore, but I also don't want to spoil it for anyone who cares about Destiny lore. But you guys, sometimes things are good and cool. Don't ask that question. That's rude. Plus, I save these on YouTube. And YouTube people can't answer you. Maybe I'll talk about it in a couple weeks once people have had time to do the new thing. Oh, instead I can talk about this book that I want to get that I haven't read. But it you ever have like something recommended to you by a person and then you completely forget about it for like a number of years? And then it randomly pops into your head again, like, what was that thing called? I was like kind of curious about it. And then you remember and it's like, oh yeah, I should check that out. That happened to me recently. I don't generally read books, but I don't even know how I remembered this particular book, but I thought about it and was like, oh man, I should try and locate this and read it or something. It's called House of Leaves. I don't really know much about it other than it's like kind of spooky, maybe. And it's about some weird stuff happening to some people, a person. I don't fully know. And I know what you're thinking. Why would I care about a book that I know so little about? Well, the reason I know little about it is because I intentionally ignored everything about what it was about. There are at least 3 different versions of it. Oh man, I didn't know that before. I want the one... I know there's at least one where like a bunch of weird stuff happens with the text of the book itself, and that's why I want to read it. But I don't know if all of those versions do that. Because I just remember like a friend from college one time coming in talking about this book. It was while we were making books for the class that we were in. He was like, oh yeah, you gotta check this out. It's like wild. He was like, I was reading it the other day and sometimes it has like footnotes, and then I got to a part where like the footnote was like the whole page. And then like on 2 pages later, it was just like a single word. Because the person in the book was like having a mental breakdown or something. So like the text on the pages was getting weird. They all do it? Cool. Blue line version? What's the difference between the versions? Are like some of them more wild than the other ones? Could say that. Oh man. Now I feel like I know even less about it than I did to begin with. with any version. I want the weirdest one, though. I won't be satisfied unless I have the weirdest one. I demand novelty in my novels. Might have different things to talk about. I mean, I would, for sure, if I read this thing. Sometimes I draw stuff like fingers, very angular, just for the sake of getting the random shape onto paper, so to speak. But like I just did, I'll go back and kind of refine those lines sometimes. I don't know about this hand though. It's a weird one. I'm just gonna leave it. And if I decide I hate it later, then I'll change it later. Oh, but how has everyone else been doing? I don't know if I asked that yet. How are you guys? You guys doing okay? Everything good in your world? If it's not, tell me. Tell me who I gotta go fight. I'll punch a person. But probably not. But maybe. It depends. Oh no. I don't know exactly what that means, Arameus, but I assume it's something like software related. And for that I am sorry. Wait, your landlord's put up your place for sale and you're still there? Can they do that? Is that allowed? Who are they selling it to? Another landlord? Would they sell it to you instead? See if they'll give you a discount. Everything's a-okay, you just walked your dogs. Nice. Pet your dogs for me. Tell them that they are good boys and or girls. And if they are very good, then give them a treat. Tell them the guy in the box told you to do it. If they ask why. Well, you wouldn't buy it? Why not? Is it not your vibe? Not your style? Is it a bad neighborhood? Drama. Oops. His hair is like gonna be slightly different than the way I normally would lay out his hair. But that's because it's wet, so I feel like I can get away with it. How was my day? My day was fine. Giving all the boys new hair. It's not actually fully new hair this time. I promise. And it's only Cecil who gets new hair, but that's because I can never decide what looks good on him. I like keep changing my mind about it. The thing about it that's kind of funny though is that it tends to like, whenever I change it, it tends to go to something similar to what it was. Which leads me to think that it was like not fully wrong to begin with. It was just the details of it I wasn't happy with, maybe. Which feels like a good sign. But who can say? Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention a second ago. Did you guys see the new Batman? What'd you think of the new Batman? I thought it was pretty good. Without spoiling it for anybody, this was my favorite one so far, I think. Mostly because it felt more like a noir detective story than all of the other Batmans up to this point. And since he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, that feels like it should have been the case from the beginning. But action puts butts in seats, I suppose. And I thought Mr. Pattinson was a good Batman, also. The other takeaway that I had from it, which is funny because I saw someone tweet about exactly the same thing that I said to one of my friends, was like, why is Gotham City always so wet? Like, it's just moist everywhere. All the time. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like over the course of a couple days, so it's not out of the ordinary that it would be rainy for a couple days, like in a row. But still. Maybe I should draw an action scene. I've done action scenes in the past. I haven't done one in a little bit, though. So maybe I could. I'll give Felix someone to fight, I guess. Okay, I need to do this before I like completely lose track. Gotham City is really Seattle. It was very, very, very much like moist New York this time around. Ah, I forgot to turn off my notifications of my phone. I don't even know if you guys can really hear those, but it always bothers me when I don't turn those off. I have a friend who has not watched Attack on Titan, and they know that I have seen it, so they text me about it every now and again. And it has been a struggle, but I haven't said anything about it so far, because being completely lost for half of the time is part of the fun with that show. So it's like, let this person figure it out. They're nearly caught up at this point, though, so it's getting even harder to not talk about stuff, because I actually am slightly aware of what's going on. I'm gonna fill this with this color because I don't know what color I'm going to use for this later. And I feel like this will help me to be like, that shouldn't be there. Okay. How did all my boys come to be? Well, each of them has their own little origin story, kind of. But it mostly came from me wanting to draw every day. And one of the easiest things became drawing like poses and figures. Because the hardest part about drawing every day is not the actual drawing, it's figuring out what to draw. Sometimes that can be like motivationally a thing, and sometimes it's just like I literally don't know what I'm gonna draw today. 90% of the time I would just kind of figure that out when I sat down to actually do the thing. Trying to get all of these where they would go. I think one like here. And then a bunch here. Yeah. So it sort of became like I don't really know what I want to draw, so let me come up with a person to draw. And then I drew Tank. And then after like the third time, I was like, I guess this is a character that I have now. I should name him something, and then I called him Tank, because up to that point I had only ever drawn him in tank tops. So that's his origin story. And then every person after that was like I want to draw this specific quality or feature kind of thing. So the one that came after Tank was Felix. His was just because I wanted to draw a person, like one of those kind of characters where you can't see their eyes because they got something in their face. For him, I decided it was his hair. But also I was like, I need another person for this friend because I can't keep drawing Tank every day for the rest of my life. That would be boring. And weird also, kind of. And then after Felix was this guy, Jesse. And he became a thing because I wanted to draw someone with glasses. That was literally it. And, yeah, at the time I decided to make him like kind of grumpy. And then I just decided, oh, he's just the grumpy one then. And then after him was Kai, I think. And he came about because I wanted to draw a person who had tattoos. Because I really wanted to draw some tattoos. But not just like a little bit of tattoos, like a whole body, like mural kind of thing for tattoos. Oh no, that should have been on a new layer. Actually, I think I want this up here a little more. Who was after Kai? After Kai, I think was Junior, Jesse's cousin. And that one was because I wanted to draw someone with tan lines. Maybe this color will work for this. A little bit darker, I think. Maybe this one. That should be fine. And then after Junior,
And you're gonna make one swell bear.
Ben Kinney, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And I hope you're well. Man, who was next? I think the next one was Roz? I was like just looking at these a second ago. Which is like wild that I already forgot. Hold on. Let me find this really quick. So Jesse. Then Kai was next. Then Junior was next. And then... then Roz was next. And I wanted to draw someone with stretch marks and freckles. So that's why Roz was a thing. And then I did Cecil after that. I wanted to draw someone with like anime hair, basically. Who was also kind of a jerk. And that's where that came from. That's too big. eyebrows is you in another world. You don't have freckles. Wait, or do you? I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty much how that all came about. Pretty much all of them were like, I want to draw a specific character trait or feature or something. Where's that other one that I use for beaches sometimes? Because I like the cloud color for that one. You would in another world. I mean, I guess that's fair. Somehow this feels like the wrong color, but I think it's because of all the other colors that are next to it. Who can say?
And you're gonna make one swell bear.
Ah. Captain Narwhal. Like narwhal? But will? Unless I'm saying that wrong, in which case I am so sorry. Please forgive me. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I hope you're well. Do-do-do-do. Turn all those down. Turn this back up. And I need... I think this would work. Like one of those. Turn that down a little bit. Let's go with this color for shadows, I guess. Thank you, Rubox. I'm glad that you think so. Like 90% of the things that I know about backgrounds comes from Bob Ross. So since you're already on Twitch, I would recommend, if you want to learn some stuff about painting landscapes, check out Bob Ross. They stream him on the weekends. But I used to do a lot of like watercolor type stuff, so that's where some of these techniques kind of come through. It's like watercolor stuff. I never actually used gouache painting, or gouache if you're across the pond. But I've always wanted to try. It's apparently very similar to watercolor. Oh. Sorry, thought I heard a thing. Yeah, it's apparently very similar to watercolor, but it has a lot of the like flat qualities of working digitally that you can sometimes get. But gouache and like poster paint are like kind of the same thing. And that's like the type of stuff that you would see in like the background of an animated movie. Or like an anime or something. Or like in an older cartoon, like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. The like parts that are like very well painted that you know are not going to be animated because they look different from everything else. That type of stuff is usually like poster paint type stuff, gouache type stuff. Maybe a little bit darker here. I don't really know. I'm unsure. Okay, so now we want something like this. And we need like a little more green. I'm not being too precise about this because I'm just going to end up blurring it like I'm doing here. This is on the wrong layer somehow. Well, I post this live. Not like live, but it does go on YouTube eventually. Usually I try to keep the most recent stream on here. But everything older than that is on YouTube right now. Just because the folks that sub here, I want to make sure they have something that's a little more special, you know? Got a couple of drops behind him, but that's fine. We want those. Wait, what is this layer? Oh, that's the sketch. I guess it's time for me to start naming stuff because I'm getting confused. Werewolf tank off screen. No. I don't think so. Wait, what is this layer? Is this just an extra layer that's not doing anything? I think so. I'm going to delete it. You learn a lot when you watch the process. I'm glad that I could help in that way. There we go. Okay. Turn this down a little. And we had this color. We're gonna leave the big brush on because this is some foreground stuff. try and do a little bit of the work for the lighting with our line work here. Just try to make sure that like stuff like here where there's like a little bit of a cast shadow, we'll get some extra line weight stuff. I didn't like that hand, so I'm going to cover it up slightly. That's my trick of the day. Is that it's not always a good idea to cover stuff up intentionally or like plan for it, but sometimes you can get away with it and it's fine. I think that's fine. Turn this down. This will be like behind their legs. And this will be in front of their legs. Trying to not do quite as much for the in front part. Okay, whoops, I think I made a new layer that I didn't need to make. So we're gonna turn this off for a second. Fill in the colors for these boys. I'll just do both of them on the same layer, that's fine. Sometimes I would separate them out, but for what I think I'm going to do here, I'm going to leave these on the same layer. And that seems fine enough. As far as like color palettes go. Can move this down to the sketch group. So I don't need that no more. I'm going to group all of these together. Okay, so we've established that I'm using this color for lighting stuff. So I'm going to blur all this. Set it as a clipping mask to kind of darken up these legs here. And I'll probably use this for the light again, because that's usually my go-to for this. Set that to like overlay. Turn it down a little bit. So this one got this thing and like this. Oops. Seems fine. Let's say his are this color. And we'll say his are this color. That works. That's fine. And then one more pass with the shadowy colors here. Actually, I can probably leave this on normal. Oh. Nope. I don't know if I even really want this. I mean, it kind of helps to sell that this is like a knee, but like you can kind of tell that it's a knee, right? I don't know. It's not really all that important. This is all going to get blurred anyway. Oh, we need one here and a little bit there. He is with those boys. You just don't want to be running around in the water. Wait, hello? Oh, I guess that's not the right layer. Whatever, it's fine. Oh, I bet it's the... Yep. That's what was confusing me. Okay, so actually I can get rid of all these things and fix it now that I know where I'm actually at. Turn that down even more, I think. Oh, geez, turnip, hello. What is your Easter egg? Alright, so that's our foreground done. We can turn our background back on. Maybe? A small crab in the background. I don't know if I can fit a crab here in the background. I would like to. I think I can get one like over here. Wait, is this the same color I'm using? It is. That's very silly. Tizzle, hello. Welcome. Draw tied to a balloon. No, I think we got it. I'm gonna give him a smiley face though. You didn't say it couldn't be a happy crab. I may have some second thoughts about how to do the, oh, I need to turn this back up. So I guess I'll turn that off and fix the lighting here. I may want to adjust the line weight of these boys here in the foreground, is what I was going to say. But a lot of this depends on how this is going to look when it gets blurred. So it may not be necessary, but who can say? I don't really have any rhyme or reason to where I'm putting these shadow spots, by the way. I'm just generally trying to keep it so that they're like generally in the same spot, like facing the same way. Like I don't know specifically where they would all be, but I'm trying to make sure they're all kind of on the bottom edge of these little doodads here. Just to kind of make sure that the lighting's consistent, you know? That's another, I guess, little quick tip. Is always make sure your lighting's consistent. Unless you know for a fact that your lighting decisions are incorrect and you know how to fix them, it's better to just kind of have everything be consistent. Like it'll stand out less if the light is consistent versus just like all over the place, Alright, so let me... That's not what I wanted. Or is it? No, it's not. I don't want that. I just want the regular blur. You have a question about lighting. Okay. What is your question? Wait, what is this layer? Oh, that's okay. This goes up here. This is all its own little mini group here. Call this one shirt. Shirts? No, it's just the one. Just the one autocorrect. Assuming there are multiple figures with varying skin tones, would it make sense to use the same color for shadows? Yes. It would. At least the way that I do it. It may not technically be the correct way. But the way that I do it is I figure out a color for all shadows at once. And then just use that the whole way through. Tageto, hello. Yeah, but I treat it as like one light source will have one color of shadow and another light source might have another color. But in general, it's like I just pick one and use that color the whole way through. And just use like a blending mode to figure it out. In reality, it would definitely be different colors. Like if you wanted to go with a more painterly approach, it really just depends on the quality of your light source and how you want to stylize it for the drawing that you're doing. Like I've seen folks do like if it's a cool light, it'll have a warm shadow type stuff, but personally, I only ever choose which is best for the overall temperature of the image. So if it's overall a warm palette, then I'll choose a warmer color for the shadows, just to make sure that it stays warm. But if it's cooler, I'll stick with something cold, or cooler, I guess, to make sure that it stays cool. But all of that can change depending on like what it is you are trying to do. Like I know in some cases I will intentionally choose a cooler shadow for a warmer image because I want the shadow to stand out more or something. But yeah, normally, especially for me, when I usually try to work pretty quick, and that's the fastest way to do it, is to choose a single color, use it for the shadows for the whole image, and then set the whole layer to be a blending mode of some kind, and that way it'll be consistent even if everyone has like different skin tones and stuff. It'll just always be like that's what the shadow is, that's what it looks like. And you don't have to think about it too hard, and it's usually pretty fast. But if you're going for like photorealistic accuracy, that's not the way to go about it. I come at it from like anime brain of like what is the fewest number of steps and layers that I can use to make this happen. forgot some stuff over here. Doubt you would ever go for photorealistic. Hey, you never know, man. It's good to break stuff up every now and again. Try something new, you know? This is the wrong layer. But yeah, photorealism's hard. There's a lot of other things to consider in most of the time. Like whenever you're like, I know what that looks like, and then you try to do a photorealistic version of it, and you're like, I don't know what the heck's going on here. The hardest part though, for like subtle lighting things is reflected light. If your light source is harsh enough, that's the part where things get like very interesting and very annoying, because that one you can't really fake by just doing like everything is one color. It is literally just like if light was shining from here, oh, you can't see it because it's not on that layer. If it was shining from this direction, right, and his shirt was white, the light would bounce off onto his cheek and there would be a white light here, right? But down here, the light would be bouncing off of the water, which is like blue or like a blue-green, so there would be like a bluish light here. It could be like the same intensity, the same like blending mode or whatever, so you could do it on the same layer if you want to try and save some time, but the color itself will be different because the light is bouncing off of a different colored object. So when you have like people who are like close together and they all have different skin tones, it'll be like the skin tone of the person next to them bouncing light onto them kind of thing, and that can be a bit of a hassle sometimes. So I try not to do it too much, but if you have the time to do it, it usually turns out pretty good. And then people are like, whoa, how do you do that? And it's like, I just picked some colors and then put everything on a blending mode. Nobody will know. They'll think you're a genius. I forgot about a couple little hairs. Oops. I think that's fine. Yeah. And just because, make sure that's the right color. Okay. Normally I would make sure that that was the same color as his skin tone or whatever, because I was fixing the skin tone layer, but since it's all going to get filled in with his hair, it's not that big of a deal. Because any lighting effects I add will be on top of both of them, so it would affect them the same way. Man, what was I gonna say? Oh yes, James Gurney on YouTube. If you're looking for like more in-depth tutorials about stuff like that, I'm sure there are other folks, but he had a tutorial that I was watching about qualities of light and shadow when you're painting. He does a lot of like plein air, watercolor gouache tutorial style videos. The dude paints a lot of like very good stuff. So I recommend his YouTube channel. It's pretty good for tutorials and things like that. What color shirt is he wearing? Let's say this color. Let me turn off this for a second. But yeah, I really enjoy watching folks who do like watercolor and gouache type stuff because it's a quick medium. So you're like constantly thinking about those sort of color decisions as you go. And a ton of other things you're constantly thinking about as well, but you know, color is like one of those things. And because it's so fast most of the time, like the nature of trying to paint something in a place, right? Because you have to be fast enough to like account for if it's like a person or a living thing like an animal. That thing's definitely going to move at some point. And you can't just like walk around town and be like, hey, can you stand still for about an hour while I draw you or something? Like sometimes you have minutes to get down that sort of visual information into whatever it is you're doing. Okay, I can fill that in. I think I'm going to make this closer to white actually because it'll make more sense with stuff showing through. And we're gonna use like this thing. I have no idea if this is actually going to do anything, but I'm going to try it and see. I think that's okay. What do I want to do here? Oh, this needs to be clipped onto here along with that. I can just merge that down. Alright, so here. What was that color I just had? This color. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it and we'll figure it out together, I guess. I can turn that down. I can turn this down. So we want an airbrush here. I guess that's fine. Trying to think about where the fabric would come into contact with the things below it. So those things would be the parts where I'm getting rid of stuff here with this airbrush. I can blur this some. Actually, no, I won't do that. I'm gonna that wasn't at all what I thought was going to happen there. Okay. Alright. Let's do this instead. I'm gonna... That's why. Some of these shapes got erased on the edges. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I need those edges if I'm going to fill in a whole layer full of stuff. Is that good enough? No, I need one here. The problem is I don't know what the threshold is for these things filling in things. Sometimes it does what I want, and other times it does not. I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose too many things. Okay, that seems fine. So now I'm gonna blur this a little. Set it as a clipping mask on this. Maybe color dodge, and then just kind of turn it down a whole lot. Somewhere like here-ish. I may not need that layer at all. That seems fine. I actually need this to be lighter, so I'm gonna clear that. I'm just gonna do this. Select that, invert that, so now I only have everything but the shirt selected there. So there we go. Where was that airbrush at? Wait. I think there's another airbrush I can use. I think this might work. Yeah. So this is basically just like a separate, like separate from the lighting kind of layer. Where I'm just trying to think about the parts where these folds will stand up the highest. And that's where these go. Oops. And in fact, I think I'll put it up here just to make sure it's above all that other stuff. One would be here. That's probably fine. Oops. So now I can go back to my regular brush. Back to our regularly scheduled programming here. Maybe let's change this to... Let's grab the sky here. That should be fine for that. Okay, so now what I want to do is actually I can't have all these as groups onto this because of the way Procreate works. So I'm just gonna have to do this the annoying way. So what I'm gonna keep doing here is selecting the thing that everything was a clipping mask on originally. And then inverting it so that it's everything that was not on that before. Or I mean, so it's everything that's not where I want stuff selected. Turn it up just a little bit. So now everything is on a clipping mask, which means I can toss some stuff on top, like these random color adjustments, and have it be a clipping mask on top of everything. Oh, darken is what I want. Yeah. May as well just kind of keep it going, so. being a little loose with some of these shadow shapes because I know they're going to get covered by other stuff. Like this pinky finger, I think, is almost completely covered, so it's not a huge deal. I forgot about our crab friend for a minute there. Oh man. And this is all going to be part of our clipping mask here in a minute, so I'm not too concerned about staying inside the lines with this collection of shadow things. Oh, but yeah, back to that thing from earlier. This is what I mean about just kind of picking one color for everything for the shadows. I chose this color when I did those boys in the foreground, so that's just the color we're sticking with for this boy here in the midground. I didn't really have a particular rhyme or reason for this color in particular. Sometimes when I'm not really sure what color to choose, I'll just pick the color that is the same as the line art layer. So that's what we got this time around. These just are the colors for the line art that's above it. Ah. This is another spot where I'm pretty sure it's going to get covered by a lot of stuff, so trying to not care so much. Because even though I don't really have a time limit anymore these days, I still have the urge to not take forever to do stuff. So if I can cut corners by not drawing a thing that's only going to be covered by something else later, then I will do that. But sometimes I still like to draw those things if I'm like not sure about the position of something. Just because it'll make moving things around later on much less of a hassle if you need to. So like what I could have done here is just like not drawn the parts of him that will get covered by stuff. Even though I knew from the beginning there would be parts of him that would get covered by stuff. But because I'm not sure, or at least I wasn't sure how those legs were going to look, I drew the whole thing just so that if I needed to move the legs around, I could without having to worry about, well, I only drew so much of this foot or whatever. Why is this not working? There we go. Oops. I'm pretty sure this is all getting covered up by water, though. This part of this hand. If not all, then like most of it. Jesse's hair color is always kind of funny to me. And I guess also Kai and Felix, because they all have the same hair color, but still. Well, not Felix actually, but Kai and Jesse do. Sometimes it like changes ever so slightly based on like random effects that I added to the layers. This is one of those times where it looks slightly different, but like not a ton different. So it wouldn't be like a huge noticeable thing, but every now and again, because of like the temperature that I'm using and therefore the layers that I'm using to adjust the color to match it, sometimes some of that stuff will be like, how did I intend for this to go? I think I wanted it to go this way. Sometimes some of that stuff will change his, the temperature of his hair color as well. To be like more warm or like closer to red and orange. Well, not so much orange, but like brown. I'm doing my best to not interact too much with the those highlights that I did earlier, just because it'll complicate things in a way that I don't really want to deal with right now. Even if those things would be more accurate, I'm just trying to finish this before the stream ends, and I'm a little tired at this point. If I'm keeping it real with y'all. Just because I don't want it to be like a, alright, we'll see you guys next time kind of thing on this drawing. That would be lame. And it would make me sad to do. I wouldn't want to do that to you. I think that's fine for now. Oh, I wanted to add some highlights here, so let me do that. There are a lot of highlights that would appear here that are not what I'm drawing right now. And that's because I'm only trying to stick to a particular type of highlights for this pass. Set it to add so I can see what I'm doing on this other layer up here. And then I'll go through in a second and do the other lighting thing that I had in mind. seems fine. Wait. Okay. So this is a thing that I did yesterday that might not work out so well on this particular pose today, but I want to do it again anyway. Just to kind of get a handle on how I can expect it to work if I decide to do it again later. I think there would be one up here. Uh. Yeah. Set that also to add, and we're gonna blur this one. I think that came out pretty good. Pretty okay. This one's a very subtle type of one, but it's good for like skin tone type stuff in like direct sunlight. And I'm going back to doing another thing that I talked about earlier. Thank you, Shimmer. I'm glad that you like it. Oops. Um, yeah, that's probably fine. I'm just gonna make all these clipping masks as well, because I can. And that'll save me some steps later. Oh no, what layer is this? was like some kind of light I wanted to put on here. Just couldn't think of what it was. Let's go with this, I guess, for his glasses. Group all these. This is our middle ground. Whoops. I think I want the water to be brighter. Since his shirt is so bright. Yeah. Just kind of doing a bunch of little U shapes here. Kind of signify the water that's dripping all over the place. I think I'll put another one like here. Yeah. Not bad overall. I think I wanna... No, we want a warmer color here, I think. Okay. So now we're gonna actually, there's one more thing I still want to do, which is kind of bring in a big ol' general light, kind of. Oops.
And you're gonna make one swell bear.
Tubi. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it, and I hope that you're doing well. Looking at this now, I kind of want to change the color on his shirt a little bit more. but like just for these folds. Rico, hello. How are you? But this way those folds will still kind of stand out without being a little too overpowering. Just got home from eating hot pot. Nice. Sounds delicious. I hope you had a good time. Ready for a food coma. Understandable. Yeah. I don't really need to do this area, actually. Because it's already, like, not super standing out, so that'll be fine. We got some fun at the beach today. And we're nearly done, actually. Set this to overlay a little bit. I want to kind of darken up some of these a little bit. Sometimes these last two give me some weird but interesting options. Not so much this time for that one. Let's try here. It's a little okay, but it's making everything a little too warm. So let's try and find one that'll cool everything down a little bit more. Need like a darker. Yeah. Fun is a relative term. I mean, you're not wrong. I think I'm gonna leave that the way it is, but I think I do wanna Try something here. Oops. Just to kind of see what happens. I think that works a little bit better. These aren't really doing a whole lot here anymore. I'm gonna say that that's fine. Overall, it's feeling like a little too bright, like a little too overexposed. But that's about as good as I'm gonna get it for now, I think. The way to go about like actually fixing it would take way too long, because I would have to essentially choose a whole palette of colors that would make more sense. And I don't really want to do that. So I won't. But this is one of those instances where if I knew more about color, I could have been more intentional from the beginning. And it would have made this a lot easier to deal with. But I don't, and I wasn't, so it's fine. It's fine. So now we're going to come in here and we're going to delete a single pixel down in the corner. And that'll be it for this one, I think. I could actually probably go in and like add a couple more of these little dudes if I really wanted to. Just to kind of break up some of these shapes a little more. Because like some of these would be more in focus than others, I suppose. So it's like some of these ones in the foreground would work a little bit more. This is the type of thing that you could easily get carried away with though, so I'm gonna try to not do that. And just leave it at that. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this one. I think we're all set for this guy. I don't know. Something about it's still kind of bothering me though. I think it's that one. I think I know what it is. Hold on. That was like too dramatically darker than everything else. So now we can blur this a little more again. Oh no, I didn't do the thing. Gotta make sure it's not alpha locked when you blur it, or else it's gonna look weird and you're not gonna be like totally sure why. But I'm here to tell you it's because you probably have it alpha locked. That's fine. We just need a little bit of blur there, so it's like a little out of focus. That feels a little better. It's like very not noticeable for you guys, I think, but you gotta trust me. But yeah, so that was a drawing. We done it. We did it. It happened. It has occurred. Thank you all for stopping by. I hope you had fun, or at least got done whatever you were doing while you had this on in the background. If you want to see this drawing and more drawings like it, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram with the same name that I've got here. That's where these go afterwards. If you want to see more streams like this, you can check them out on YouTube probably. Micah, hello. Unfortunately, you've appeared at the end. I was just wrapping it up. Yeah. But, maybe I'll be back on Wednesday? I don't know, man. Things have been a little bit hectic for me. So, if I'm feeling really tired, I won't be back. Because I'm trying to embrace the idea of, like, you know, resting when you're tired. But I'm also trying to find a balance, because sometimes I just don't want to do stuff, you know? But I still want to. I like hanging out with you guys. It's always a chill and fun time. Yeah. So that'll be it for me. I might be back Wednesday, like I said. Maybe not. Who really knows? Only time will tell. But if you're following me on social media, you will see when I go live. It'll be a surprise to all of us, I'm sure. Yeah. So let's raid a person. We're gonna raid Bear Boy, I think. He's playing Elden Ring. Wow. So let's watch him play Elden Ring and stuff. Say hi. But yeah. Maximus, hello. You are also here right at the end. I'm sorry. I was just about to raid someone. But thank you for stopping by. But yeah, we got a little Jesse today. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Until the next time I see you, go do something nice for someone, you know? Just for like the sake of doing something nice. I bet it'll feel awesome to do. But don't like do it for a reward, because then it becomes like not a nice thing. It's just like you trying to get a reward. And that's not as fun. So yeah, do something nice, and I'll see you when I see you. And let's all go say hi to Bear Boy. And stuff. Goodbye. Thank you all for hanging out. I'll see you guys later. Farewell. Goodbye.